Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Raising Cane's studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane's studio downtown in the capital city on this Tuesday. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Appreciate you hanging out with us on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Brought to you by Mint's Information Technology. Jordan Kitchens, Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. And we got lots to get to today. Glenn West in 30 minutes. He was there as Lane Kiffin met with the media for the first time about an hour and a half ago. So we'll talk to Glenn about that. Sharif Ishak in hour number 2. We'll talk Saints with him. I also want to talk about some Saints with an LSU lean. What about Mansoor Delane yesterday? Is that a fit for New Orleans? We'll talk about it a little bit later on. LSU baseball back on the diamond tonight against Louisiana Tech. I'll give you my full preview of that one. But we're starting with football. LSU was on the practice field for the first time under Lane Kiffin. That is our opening drive.
Welcome to the big league.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive. Presented by Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville.
I got to tell you, things are a little different under Lane Kiffin out there at practice than they were under Brian Kelly. We got about 20 minutes today, the first day of spring workouts, and then we were ushered on off the practice field. As I've said many times, that is perfectly acceptable to me. It's not going to produce a world of content for you all, but I think we gleaned quite a bit today in terms of the vibes out there at practice. Lane Kiffin's got the aux cord. Not literally at the moment, but I'm pretty sure he's in control of what they're playing out there. We got Morgan Wallen going. We got the Chainsmokers going. There's an upbeat vibe to the music that's popping. And it was a fun little 20 minutes to go out there and see a little bit of football today. And I did think that we picked up on some pertinent things. Let's start with the headliners here. That, of course, begins with the quarterback, Sam Levitt. What can he do? What can he do? Is he here? Is he there? Sam Levitt is at practice, and I can tell you, based on this being the first day, Sam Levitt is not taking the spring off. He's recovering from Liz Frank surgery, but he was out there. He was in his jersey. He was in a helmet. He was working with the first unit in terms of the handoff drills. He was throwing on individuals with the receivers and dry routes. He was walking around. When he throws, you can't tell much of a difference. Now, when the quarterbacks did their light jog to the next drill, yes, you can tell Sam Levitt is favoring his foot a little bit. But he can absolutely get back there and take snaps. He can survey things. He's not sitting off to the side. He's throwing the football. And you would imagine that over the course of the next 3 weeks, he will progressively do a little bit more. He's not going to push it. He's not going to be out there on 11-on-11 full pads. He's limited in what he can do, but he's not incapacitated. He's out there and getting a little bit of work in at the quarterback spot. As far as Whit Weeks goes, that's the other guy I was curious to see today. And Whit Weeks was there. He was in a uniform. He did not practice. He did not put a helmet on. He did not go through the drills. He was there watching the linebackers. And he doesn't really need to do spring football. He's been in Blake Baker's defense for 2 years. He knows what's going on out there. He's involved. He's helping some of the younger guys and some of the newer guys out there. I will tell you this, and this is a personal thing for me as I was out there, so you kind of see what lens I'm looking through here. We got out on the practice field, and here they come. And we know that it's going to be quick. So you got the notebook out. You got the pen out. I've been doing this for 17 years. Like, okay, let's get to writing. And they got into immediately on the field we were closest to, they got into an 11-on-11. It was a half-speed walk-through, snap it, run the play, spot the ball, snap it, run the play, spot the ball. So for me, when I see that, okay, let's go through the lineup. What's the offense? And I'm just writing down numbers. What's the defense? I'm writing down numbers, and I put them on my sheet like in a formation so that I can go back and check my notes and see who the players were. Because you realize there's 40 transfers and 15 freshmen out there. There's 65 new players that I've never seen before out there on the field. So I'm writing numbers. And plus, some of the guys that are returners are in new numbers. So like it's a free-for-all out there. I'm writing, and immediately as I start to transcribe who I was looking at, I went, oh, that was the second team. I just assumed it was the starters. They came out first. I recognized Longstreet. I figured Levitt wasn't practicing potentially. Like, okay, this is probably the first team, and I'm just writing. And then I got to it and went, oh. And so I went through, and in my lineup, as it looked, it was Bryson Martinez, Jaquan Sprinkle, William Satterwhite, Darren Stray, and Bo Bordelon up front. I go, okay, well, that's the second team. There's no Braylon Moore. There's no Jordan Seaton. Like, these are Bryson Martinez is a freshman. Jaquan Sprinkle you bring in from the transfer portal. William Satterwhite's probably your backup to Braylon Moore. Like, I'm looking at that. At wide receiver, Trey Brown, who theoretically could be a starter on this team. Phillip Wright, the only returning wide receiver, so I was thinking that could be potentially a starting player. Malik Elzy, who comes in from Illinois, and wide receiver was with that group. Malachi Thomas was the tight end, and Dylan Jones was the running back. But clearly, that's a look at the second team. Defensively, there are more names you'll recognize from this second team. Some returners there. Gabe Relaford was out there. That was good to see after he obviously missed a lot of time there during the fall. Brandon Brown and Sean Washington were the defensive tackles. Dylan Carpenter was the other edge. Those are all returning players. Tylen Singleton, Zach Weeks, CJ Jim Coyley were the linebackers. Those are all returning players. Michael Turner and Jakeem Jackson were the two corners, returning players. Fahim Delane was back there at safety, Mansoor's younger brother, and Jace Thomas was the other safety there. Let me start with that group at safety because they were closest to me during individuals. A lot of folks went and watched the quarterbacks throw to some wide receivers that was on the other field, and I did see some of that, but I found myself as the only guy sitting there watching the safeties, and as I'm looking at them, I'm going, I told you all this yesterday. I was like, this is a talented-looking group, and it's a mature-looking group. I looked at that group, and Deshaun Spears and Ty Benefield are both long and rangy and filled out, not like skinny at all. You wouldn't think that because they're third-year players. I liked what I saw from those two guys. Aiden Hall, the freshman from Carr, was out there. He doesn't really look like a freshman. There are plenty of players out there that do look like freshmen. First time you saw Harlan Berry at running back, looks like a freshman. When you first laid eyes on Michael Turner, who you still look at him and he looks like a freshman. He's a third-year player. But look, Aiden Hall does not look like a freshman. He looks filled out, big. Tamarcus Cooley's back. Fahim Delane is big and physical. Like that's a physical group with Deshaun Spears, Ty Benefield, Aiden Hall, Tamarcus Cooley, Fahim Delane. I enjoyed watching those guys go through some drills. And then what added to that, because I wrote this in my practice report before Lane Kiffin ever took the podium. And then he goes to the podium and said something that really, really, really popped to me. He was talking about the work ethic of Trey'Dez Green. And he mentioned that Trey'Dez Green's skill set is off the charts, so is his work ethic, and Jordan Seaton is in that same breath. Well, Trey'Dez Green was the number one tight end in the country and a five-star recruit, and has been a really good player for 2 years. Jordan Seaton was a five-star recruit, a top 10 player in the country, a 2-year starter at offensive tackle, and a potential first-round pick. I'm not surprised he's paired those two guys together. And you're going, Hunt, why are you talking about Jordan Seaton and Trey'Dez Green when you're talking about the safeties? Well, he mentioned in that same breath, he mentioned three guys: Trey'Dez Green, Jordan Seaton, and Ty Benefield. That is very high praise to me, considering that Ty Benefield has one practice under his belt. But Lane Kiffin's obviously seen it up on the tape, and so that tells me right there, when you mention Benefield with Trey'Dez Green and Jordan Seaton, who are going to go in the first round of the next draft, you've already determined that this guy's an impact player on this team. I'm penciling Ty Benefield in immediately. And he looked the part. I saw him today, looked very, very good. I saw a few other things on the field that I thought were noteworthy. Chris Kiffin was working with the linebackers, and Blake Baker was working with the stars. The stars are taking that role that kind of Harold Perkins played. Major Burns worked at it 2 years ago. It's a hybrid safety linebacker nickel type deal. Y'all are well aware of that. Zach Weeks spent some time there. Keelan Moses as well, who just looks huge out there. Devon Keys was there. Theo Grace, who's a newcomer in, and then Jake Ibieta from the walk-on side. Those guys were kind of working at the star spot. I would assume moving forward that like Deshaun Spears, Ty Benefield, even Tamarcus Cooley potentially, like there will be some more defensive back flavor to that group, I think, in time. But today, on the first day of spring ball, which you're not going to take a ton from, a lot of linebackers who are a little bit maybe down the pecking order were out there doing that. I labeled this section in my practice report today as Lanyap, just a few other things that me and Matt noticed out there on the practice field. Tyree Holloway, a transfer from West Florida who's got speed to burn, had a drop on the crossing routes. That was noteworthy. There weren't a lot of those from the time we were out there, and he did have a drop. In terms of just how the guys looked in the pads, Well, some of them had shoulder pads on, some of them didn't, but how guys looked in the uniform. Jackson Harris and Malik Elzy at the wide receiver positions. Harris comes from Hawaii. Elzy comes from Illinois. They are both very big and physical, look the part as mature wide receivers as they are when they brought in. Stephylan Green was not there, we don't think. I wouldn't testify under oath in front of Congress about attendance today. Because it's the first day and there's a lot you can miss in 15, 20 minutes with a bunch of guys you've never seen before. But the thought between the media members today was that Stephylan Green was not out there today. So I didn't say that he wasn't there. I wrote in my practice report that we did not see him today. Interestingly enough, consider this. It's just a different time and place. We're all aware of this in college football, but there are only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are only 6 players who are not with the team for spring football. You used to have 20, 23 freshmen coming in the summer that were going through their first real practice on August 1st. There are 6 guys that aren't here yet. Braden Allen, Lamar Brown, that's a big name, but he's still at U-High. Des Ellis, Adrian Lamb, Isaiah Washington, and Jackson Williams are the only players not with the team currently. Like the transfers are here. And most of the freshman class is here. It wasn't a big freshman class, but most of them are here. Big Richard Anderson is here, and looking at some of the really talented players at wide receiver that they brought in are here. Like, it's amazing just how different that is. On a kind of a side note, I was talking to Michael Caldwell from WBRC about this. Like, one of the most fun times I can remember in my life was my last semester of high school. And I realized that I was in quite a different situation than these guys who were on scholarship collecting NIL money to play football, and that this is an amazing chapter and something they need to get to in their lives. Like, I completely respect that. But, like, didn't we all, like, most of us have a lot of fun that last semester of high school when you're driving and you probably, if you're going to college, you've already got that figured out. If maybe you've got a job already, and like it's not the most stressful time in your life. And then there's those last like 4 weeks where a lot of you just kind of mail it in. That was a great time. And all these guys are out on their last semester of high school. They're throwing on the pads. They're moving away from home, and they're working on football. But you've got a lot of guys out there. Lane Kiffin met with the media. I didn't think anything earth-shattering that came from his press conference today. We'll have that sound cut up and probably get into some of it tomorrow. But those are my overarching thoughts on practice today. Just for y'all's edification, it's just we're not going to have quite as much juice on a Lane Kiffin practice as we did Brian Kelly. Y'all know this, but Brian Kelly let us in there to watch scrimmages. He let us in there to watch full 90, 95, 100-minute practices. You can pull a lot on that from plays and drives and rotations, and there's just a lot to get to. Today, I watched a lot of guys running around cones. I watched a lot of guys hitting sleds. I watched a lot of guys being coached off to the side. Incidentally, Lane Kiffin was not doing a lot of quote-unquote coaching on the offensive side. Charlie Weiss Jr. and Dane Stevens were coaching the quarterbacks. They didn't have the pads on, not a lot of them tackling or anything. It's just there's not a ton of juice to that. I think that the rotations, I think that how guys kind of look in the uni, and I think just kind of monitoring some of the injury situations with specifically Levitt and Weeks, and then obviously Gabe Relaford was great to see him today. That's kind of the juice that we'll be able to give you, but just not quite as much play-by-play going to be coming from us. And again, I've said this a million times. I'm fine with that. Run your practice the way you want to run practice. You want us in there for 2 hours? Great. You want to tell us to get out of there after we take roll? That's fine with me too. Run your practice the way you think best to win games, and Lane's going to do that. I don't know that you're going to get as much video from us. I don't know that you're going to get as much content play-by-play from us from a radio perspective, from a practice report perspective, podcast, YouTube. Like, it's just going to be different, and I think y'all should be prepared for that. And again, I don't think anybody's complaining about it either. So it was good to get out there. I was telling some of the media guys, March practices a little easier for us to take in those August workouts. It's warm out there in August. March, there's a little chill in the air this morning. I had pants on, had no problem, so that's nice. And the vibes were great out there with the music going. The weather was good, and I think there's just a lot of energy out there with LSU football right now. So it's good to get out there and check that out. We'll continue to give you updates as we are allowed availability. And I know that Matt will have a lot more coming up on AFR. He was there for the entire session that we were allowed, and he was also at the Lane Kiffin press conference as well. So we'll get you more of that on AFR coming up as we move forward. Glenn West of 24/7 was there. We'll talk to him a little bit about it in 15 minutes. When we come back, do want to move forward, move away from practice. Mansoor Delane had a great day yesterday. Does that make sense for New Orleans? We'll do that next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Marucci right here in Baton Rouge. 22 years ago, it was just a couple of former big leaguers and their trainer thinking, let's make a bat. I think we can do a pretty good job with that. And they made a bat and made a few more bats, and people started swinging the bats. People liked the bats, and they made more bats. And now those bats are the official bat of Major League Baseball. What a cool story for right here in Baton Rouge. And you can go take a tour and learn about that story. You can see where they are crafting 1,200 bats every day. You can see how they put those together, how they stain those, how those are shipped off, where they're headed. And right now, they're headed to a bunch of Major League teams that are headed to opening day in 2 days. Turn on a Major League game in 2 days, you'll see the Marucci lumber being swung around. It's the official bat of Major League Baseball. Go take that tour. Check them out online at maruccisports.com/campus-tour. Every single ticket comes with a 20% discount into the Campus Tour store and in the hitter's house. Go by and see them at Marucci.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
The Cane's Box Combo, a symphony of flavors. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
Everything you need for a stunning garden is at the Plant Barn in Baton Rouge. From trees and shrubs to plants and pottery, the Plant Barn has it all at great prices. Visit us today on Valley Street, right off Perkins Road in South Downs.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Every week week, our Tuesday shows are brought to you by Immense, to help you out with information technology. If this sounds familiar, you got one or two IT employees. They're constantly overwhelmed, constantly running around the office, constantly trying to help 5 different people at once, but never able to be 5 places at once. If that's the case with your business, contact Immense and let them help you with IT. When you think about IT, I think a lot of us, myself included, until last week, think about, hey, my computer is frozen. Like, please help me figure this out. I can't get this email to work. Like, what's the problem? That's what I think about when I think about IT. And Immense can certainly do some of those things for you. But what they want to do is actually be a consultant for you and help you to grow your business using technology. They're a partner when they talk about helping you with IT. It's not just fixing broken computers. It's making sure that you're optimizing your ability to use IT to grow your business. You want to do what you want to do. You want to do what you're specialized in. You want to do what your business is designed to do. You don't want IT slowing you down, but it can also help. And that's what Immense does. They're all Baton Rouge based, all LSU grads from the ownership side, and they can help you out from Lake Charles all the way to Covington. If you're a company from 50 to 100 employees, that's the sweet spot for Immense. They're here to help you out. They bring you my Tuesday shows, and you can find them online at immense.net. That's immense.net. Now, yesterday was a big day for Mansoor Delane at LSU's Pro Day. To crack the 4.4 number, I was pretty surprised. Like, I just did not. When I watch Mansoor Delane play, I think of a technician. I think of someone who plays with the proper technique and is always in position. I didn't necessarily consider him to be the most athletic guy on the field. And maybe his ability to be that technically sound clouded that judgment. Clearly, you can't be a great cornerback if you can't run and jump, right? That's very obvious. But I just didn't think of Mansoor Delane as an athlete in the class of a Derek Stingley or a Patrick Peterson. I thought of him as a cover man in their class. I was doing a radio hit earlier today with some folks in the capital city in D.C., and they were asking me about him, and I thought about this, and I said, I've watched a lot of LSU football over the years, and LSU's cranked out a lot of really, really, really good defensive backs. As far as coverage goes, I think I would go in the top tier: Patrick Peterson, Derek Stingley Jr., and Mansoor Delane. I strongly considered Morris Claiborne in that and probably could put him in that category. And those guys are just a tick above the next category, which I would put Greedy Williams, Tre'Davious White in. I would consider Thurl Simon in his prime there in 11 and 12 to be in that category. I think you could look at some other guys like Christian Fulton, who had a really good run. Corey Webster's absolutely in that category as well for me. Like, there's a lot of really good ones, but the point of that is not to individualize. It's to look at Mansoor Delane and go, he's in the top tier. Whoever you want to put in the top tier, you want to put Corey in that top tier, I feel you. There are guys that absolutely fit there. But Mansoor Delane is in that top tier. And then for him to run a sub 4.4 yesterday was jarring. So you look at a guy who, and this is my favorite stat, I'll continue to use it. I'll use it long after he's gone. He allowed 2 first downs this past year. Two first downs in coverage this year. He's the best cover corner in this draft, and he's one of the best cover corners that LSU's ever had. You can take my word for it, or you could listen to Lane Kiffin, who, when he was talking about playing LSU to the crew that was covering the game for ESPN in September of last year, and he said, that's as good a corner as we've seen on film. We're not going that way. And they went heavy on P.J. Woodland and DJ Pickett all afternoon. Just didn't want to mess with Delane. Take Lane's word for it. The question is not, though, where he ranks in LSU history. The question is, does he make sense for the Saints? And the Saints pick at 8, and you look at what they've got, and there's been an overhaul at that position. You had a kind of a good couple-year run there with Lattimore at the end of his line, and Paulson Adebo, and you brought in Alontae Taylor, and you had pretty good group at corner. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was there for a brief period, but you had really good play at corner. And Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was moved on from, and then Lattimore reached the end of his rope, and you traded him off correctly. And now, obviously, Alontae Taylor is signed elsewhere, and you kind of look around, and you go, okay, we've got Kool-Aid, we've got Quincy Riley, and those are young players, but Do we need to upgrade the talent level? And I would argue yes. I would say you do. And Mansoor Delane does that. Mansoor Delane is a better talent than those two guys. Now, those two guys were high-round picks. You're looking at picks in the second, third round there. But Delane is a potential top 10 guy. He's a top 10 player on almost every big board in this class. Now, do you think it's easier to find a corner in round 2, 3, 4 that can help you than it is to find an edge rusher? Maybe. There are more corners than edge rushers. There are more 5'11", 6'1" guys with quick hips, fast, that can knock balls down than there are 6'5", 260 guys that can get up the passer. There just are. So is 8 too early to go corner? I would argue no. If it's a need and you think there's a Pro Bowl caliber player there, and that's what your analysis says, I say go get it. I don't think Houston regrets taking Derek Stingley where they did. I don't think Arizona regrets taking Patrick Peterson where they did. You could always take that next quarterback, but the Saints aren't taking a quarterback. So is there a big difference in terms of your franchise if you get a Pro Bowler at corner or a Pro Bowler at linebacker, a Pro Bowler at wide receiver? I think those are comparable. I find the value there. And I think that pick would be just fine. He's got the size. He's got the strength. You know now he has the speed. The tape's phenomenal. We've talked to him. He's a great representative. Always gives great answers. It's hard to find a dent in Mansoor Delane's resume. And so you look at what's there. And so the hard part about this is not knowing. We'll do this after the draft's over. But what was there when the Saints picked at 8? Because between picks 4 and 10, you see a lot of shuffling. And so we can't know what will be there. But in terms of fit on the roster, talent, it's a match for New Orleans, I think. So I understand if you feel like you've got to address game-changing wide receiver and you feel way better about the first 3 guys than you do guys 6, 7, 8, 9 that you could get in the second or third round. I understand that. I understand Jeremiah Love to an extent. I understand Caleb Downs to an extent. Sonny Styles to an extent. Like, I get all those picks, and I get Mansoor Delane. I'm not giving you the firmest take, but I will suggest that I don't think you're reaching to take that position at that spot in the draft. If he is the best player on your board, and you think he is a Pro Bowler, at that age, at that cost, with what you're looking at on the roster, which is iffy cornerback play and iffy cornerback depth, I think it makes a ton of sense to go take Mansoor Delane. That's one position, cornerback, you cannot get old at because you will fall off a cliff. You can get old at guard. You can get old at quarterback. You can get old at tight end. You can get old at linebacker. You cannot get old at corner. At corner, you have to consistently have young freak athletes to man that position. Because we just saw it with Marshawn Lattimore. Good Pro Bowler, All-Pro, Pro Bowler, I can't play. Like, he fell off a cliff in 6 months. That position is demanding. So if you think you've got a guy who can play that spot as an elite number 1 and knock Kool-Aid McKinstry and Quincy Riley down a peg to a place that they're more likely to fit in, I don't have a problem with that. And what he did at Pro Day yesterday, running that time with the tape that's going to accompany it, somebody's going to take him in the top 12 picks. Somebody's probably going to take him in the top 10 picks. I just got off the phone an hour ago with some folks in Washington, D.C. that think Washington may take him with the 7th pick. He may not even be there. But I think it makes sense to make that happen. So we'll see if New Orleans looks in that direction. Any way you slice it, Mansoor Delane going to be a rich, rich fella. 30 seconds, Jordan. You like Mansoor Delane for New Orleans there? You need to go to a different position.
I just think the Saints are in a position where they have you're like a kid in a candy store. You really can't go wrong. You can get a Mansoor, Delane, you get a Bane that falls, you can get a Jordan Tyson. It's just maddening how long the draft is from now. And
it's a month away.
Yeah, and
which
that's crazy.
I could not believe when I looked that up today.
That's crazy. We have to keep doing this, and it's like, can we just get to the draft? We got the numbers, we got the measurements and all this. Let's just draft. I'm ready to draft. So I'll take Mansoor, Delane, to make a long story short. Yeah.
All right. They'll draft eventually. It's just going to take another month. Come back with Glenn West. He was at practice today. We'll talk some baseball with him as well. It's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Closet space is not something that everybody considers all the time. I certainly didn't when I bought my first home. And then my wife-to-be moved in and said, this is not going to work. So we could have called David Duvall at One Bath and Closets, but we knew we were going to move with kiddo number 2 on the way. You don't have to move to improve your closet situation. Call David Duvall. He can customize a closet for you. That may mean building a whole new one. They can do that. It may mean just using your space more efficiently with some features that you currently don't have. David will sit down with you. He'll go through your needs. You'll fill out a questionnaire. He'll know what you're looking for, and his design and his execution of that is going to be customized to your specifications. It's going to be functional. It's going to be beautiful. Check out the work. It's at onebathandclosets.com. You can see pictures of the great work. If you need more closet space, you're too cluttered, let David Duvall handle it from here. It's David Duvall at One Bath and Closets. They're online at onebathandclosets.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
Transform your living space with Lacoste & Young Remodeling and take your home from outdated to outstanding. Redefine your kitchen for the ultimate culinary experience or elevate your daily routine with a spa-worthy bathroom retreat. Our skilled team brings 3D modeling to life to ensure your vision becomes a reality. We believe luxury should be accessible and offer tailored solutions to fit your budget without compromising quality. So contact us today for a free estimate. Lacoste & Young Remodeling, providing perfect solutions for your dream home.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit LouisianaPropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Going to talk some football as well as some LSU baseball with Glenn West here shortly. Let me tell you about my friends at the Highland Insurance Group first. HighlandIG.com is the website. Jonathan Carbo and his team are phenomenal to work with in the insurance game. They're an independent broker. That means they've got access to dozens and dozens of carriers. No matter what your business does, no matter what line of work you're in, they've got a carrier that fits for you. And that means in terms of the premium that you're looking to pay, as well as the coverages that you need as a business. And oftentimes, business owners aren't exactly sure what they do need from an insurance perspective. That's why you got to trust your broker. At the Howard Insurance Group, you can trust your broker to make sure your coverages are in place. The last thing you want to do is pay what you believe to be a significant chunk of money in premium and then not be covered on the other side because you just looked at the price tag. The Howard Insurance Group will work with you to make sure that you're covered properly. Trust them like you trust your attorney. Trust them like you trust your CPA. Trust your insurance broker in that same way. Jonathan Carbo and the Howard Insurance Group can do that for you. They're based here in Baton Rouge. They can help you out statewide. It's the Howard Insurance Group. They're online at HighlandIG.com. Let's welcome in Glenn West, senior writer, Go 24/7, Talking Tigers. Glenn, how are you?
Doing great, Hunt. It's been a little while. It's been a few hours.
Yeah, it has been just a couple hours there. Today, just a more comfortable day on the Ponderosa than those mid-August afternoons. Where'd your eyes go first when you hit the Ponderosa?
Yeah, we immediately walked in and took a right, and we were kind of on this near field closest to the where we were allowed to enter, and so LSU went through and did their kind of their hurry up or their kind of walk through drill, I guess you call it there with 11 on 11. You saw Husan Longstreet out there getting some reps, but very quickly kind of learned that was the second team because I think the first team was on the far field, and so. But it was really cool. It was good to see just the guys out there. I thought the vibe and the energy was certainly up, and it's a new era of LSU football, and excited to kind of really dive into the spring here and get a look at this team. It was mostly individual drills today, so only about 20 minutes, but everybody seemed to be looking all right and moving well, and I thought it was a good overall start to the spring.
Lane Kiffin met with the media after practice was over. Did anything that he said specifically stand out to you?
Yeah, I thought there were a few interesting things. I thought, one of the questions that was asked to him was specifically about Trey'Dez Green and just kind of where his development is as a player. And I thought that he took that question and kind of built upon it by including a couple of other really impactful players I think LSU is going to have this year with Jordan Seaton at left tackle and then Ty Benfield, the safety. Just talked about kind of how they have a very ultra-elite skill set, but also an ultra-elite mindset that those three players have. And so I thought that was one of the more interesting takeaways because, I think most people figured that, Green and Seaton would be kind of at the top of this thing offensively. And, Benfield's also a new guy that they're bringing in defensively that they are very high on. And so those three guys seem to be, guys that they're going to be really leaning on as leaders. I thought that, the plan for the quarterbacks is smart. It doesn't sound like Sam Levitt's going to do things to, overly, stress that leg as he continues to work back from that injury. So you're going to see a lot of Longstreet. You're going to see a lot of Landon Clark. And I thought, Clark today also had some really good looking throws. They did some, they're not throwing against competition right now. They're just kind of throwing to the receivers and getting the timing and the distance down on some of the throws, but they were able to complete some good long balls today as well. So really liked the kind of the first, kind of start for this program and kind of the start for this spring. And I think Kiffin's, gonna be, handling this the way that he needs to here going forward.
What did you think of Lane Kiffin's response? I forgot who asked it. I would credit, and you'll probably remember, about the question about it's just different, and about him being in the community and about his interactions at Junior Day. Like, what did you take from all of that as Lane has kind of immersed himself in Louisiana over the last 4 months?
Yeah, that was actually the last one that I got into him. So it was a good response there. And look, I think that any coach that comes into LSU, I think a big part of it is just embracing what this culture in Louisiana is all about. And he talked a lot about, this Junior Day that they had this past weekend with a lot of 2027 and 2028 prospects from the next couple of recruiting classes, many of them from Louisiana that they were hosting, and just talked about the parents' messages and the parents' questions that they had for the staff members, and just how, central it was to, if my kid comes here and he puts in the work, and just is there going to be that opportunity for him to play early in the program. And, he mentioned just kind of how that was maybe a little bit different than what he has heard in recent years with kind of the NIL and the money and the transfer portal and all the financial elements to college football now. And so, he talked a lot about how, this state just has a presence about it, and the players that come out of it that he really wanted to be a part of, and I think you're going to see him recruit to here going forward. So, I thought it was a good answer and something that obviously he's leaned into on his social media fronts, the Just Different hashtag and all that stuff. So that was really cool to hear.
Something I've noticed with his press conferences at Ole Miss and now to start at LSU, as long as you're not talking about injuries or strategy, if you ask him a question, he will actually think about the answer and give you the answer that he believes in. It's not just a ton of coach speak unless you get to injuries or strategy, which he won't go into at all. But like you asked that question, he gave like a 2-minute answer that involved just a lot of firsthand information. I thought that was pretty cool and something we can file away for later when asking questions. Let's transition over to baseball, Glenn. The Tigers lose their third straight weekend, lose the second 2 games to Oklahoma. How much trouble are they in?
I think they're in some trouble here. I mean, like, it's just, if it's, one thing, if it's not one thing, it's the other here with this team right now. It seems to be kind of a whack-a-mole in terms of just how they're going to be able to get all 3 phases of the game, in sync. I thought the pitching was as good as it could, as good as you could have possibly expected for the most part this weekend, or this past weekend, but the offense just really failed to kind of rise to the challenge here this past weekend. They just didn't have a lot of consistency. Really from top to bottom. I mean, some of the younger guys like Omar Cerna was, I think, the leading hitter on the weekend for LSU. Jake Brown only had 1 hit. Garrett Curiel only had 2 hits. Steven Milam, I think, had 1 or 2 hits. Like, when your best players are just not swinging the bats the way that you need them to, it's going to be really hard to win games consistently in the SEC. And, I thought Casey Evans got them off to a phenomenal start there in that Thursday game. But, Friday and Saturday, for whatever reason, they just weren't able to make the knockout punch when they really needed to. And that's been concerning. I think the defense, you saw a lot of the rotations that you've seen here the last couple of games, or really the last several weeks, where you just tried to put Steven Milam in the best position possible because that's where you think the ball's going to go. That's really what they've been leaning into here, and I think it tells you how much work they have to do in the rest of the defense and the rest of those defenders, getting the right plays and making the right reads and the throws and making the right catches. There's a lot that I think needs to be improved upon right now with this group. And honestly, I think for me, it starts offensively. Like, you had a couple of really solid innings at Vanderbilt, but outside of that, it's been very hit and miss on just what you can expect from that group going into the game.
When you look at the offense and you look at the guys who have rotated, that's Caraway, it's Dardar, it's Reeves to an extent, York, Braun, like those guys at third, second, first, DH. Like, who are the most likely candidates to give some stability and some production in your eyes?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think probably the one guy that also we could maybe throw in there that hasn't had as much opportunity recently that I would think maybe get some here in the near future is Braden Simpson. I think he's somebody that you could certainly work in and give him an opportunity. Honestly, for me, I'm looking at John Pearson right now. I think, he had a decent weekend. I think the one thing with him is just, whenever he's not getting hit or getting on base, it's usually a strikeout. And so he's got to clean up some of the strikeouts that he's had. But I thought, gave them some pretty consistent at-bats the first 2 games this past weekend. And then, honestly, I'm very curious to see how much they lean into Omar Cerna at first base. It was just a 1-game sample size that we saw here. He's not leaving the lineup, but I think the interesting part here was that he played designated hitter, played catcher, played first base. Is there going to be an opportunity here for him whenever he's not behind the plate to play first base a little bit more consistently and maybe give them something there from an offensive perspective that they just weren't getting? So I think he's one to watch, but I think, honestly, Pearson's a guy that has to step up. I think Trent Caraway has to step up at some point, but those are probably the 3 that really stick out to me as guys that I think really need to kind of step up and be more consistent offensively for LSU.
I mean, Simpson hit 389 with 22 homers last year at High Point. He was in the top 10 in the country in slugging and doubles. And this year, he's 7 for 24, which is 292. You're not going to win a Gold Glove anytime soon, but if they are looking for offense, I wouldn't hate putting him out there.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think if you're looking for offense, he's somebody that you have to give an opportunity to. And I think, look, at the end of the day, too, I think a lot of this would be a little bit more, palatable if your best players were playing like your best players. Like I don't think that they've had the consistency that they need to from some of the top guys that have been through this before. Once if not twice. So I think they'll get it together. It's just a matter of when that happens, and you're kind of digging yourselves into an early hole here because the schedule is just not going to let up here after Kentucky and with a lot of the series that you have coming up here on the road. So it's going to be really important that the offense really tries to get it together here sooner than later.
We'll see. Tigers and Tech tonight at 6:30 from the box. Thanks, Glenn.
All right, thanks, Don.
Glenn West, senior writer at Go 24/7. We'll come back and close the hour up with one player who is making some waves with LSU football very, very early on. We'll talk about it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
First American Bank and Trust. First American Bank and Trust. You can find them online at fabt.com. You can find them in person all over the place because there are 26 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana, always one near you, whether you're in St. Tammany or Tangipahoa up the I-12 corridor or down the Bayou, St. John, Lafourche, Terrebonne. No matter where you are, First American Bank and Trust is never too far away. So if you're looking for a commercial loan, First American Bank and Trust. Looking for a personal loan for a new home, First American Bank and Trust. Every decision that's made by First American Bank and Trust is right here in Southeast Louisiana, all of them. So you're never a line item for some call center in Chicago or over in Atlanta. It's all right here in your community. But not only is it just a community bank, it's not a mom and pop shop. 25 locations in Southeast Louisiana. They've got the resources you need for your commercial lending. So First American Bank and Trust. Find them online at fabt.com.
At Raising Cane's, we hand batter every chicken finger, mix every cane sauce, butter every Texas toast, stir every slaw, and salt every fry. Because when you do it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs. Set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free confidential help now.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Closing up hour number 1 here. We're brought to you by Immense. Check them out for all your IT needs. Immense.net, immense.net. Hat tip to Wilson Alexander, the Advocate. He asked a question of Lane Kiffin today, and he prefaced it by saying that Jordan Seaton had, quote-unquote, changed his body. You're all aware of Jordan Seaton, former 5-star recruit, top 10 player in the country, 2-year starter at offensive tackle for Colorado, comes in to kind of be the anchor at left tackle for this LSU team in 2026. And Lane Kiffin talked about the talent that Jordan Seaton has, as well as the mindset that he brings each and every day. And he lumped him in with Trey'Dez Green, lumped him in with Ty Benefield. But I'm speaking about Seaton in this segment here because Kiffin spoke so highly of his work ethic, and we know what the tape says, what the Pro Football Focus grades are, what the recruiting analyst thought, and that he's very likely a first-round pick in the next draft to come. But I did not see Jordan Seaton on the practice field today. I don't have time in 15, 18, 20 minutes to go look at every single player on the practice field. You got to kind of find a spot and look. So I didn't see Jordan Seaton today. But Wilson brought up the body transformation. So I just looked up the numbers. And I pulled up Colorado's website from last year. And Colorado listed Jordan Seaton at 330 pounds, which is not abnormal for an offensive tackle. Plenty of offensive linemen play at 330. So that doesn't catch my eye until I pull out the sheet that LSU gave us entering practice today, and I see Jordan Seaton listed at 6'5", 307. That's down almost 25 pounds from what he was listed as last year. Now, I don't have a scale in Boulder, and I don't have a scale on Jordan Seaton here in Baton Rouge. I can't verify either of those numbers, but sounds like it's real because Wilson asked Lane Kiffin about it, and Lane Kiffin said Seaton's up here all the time. He's constantly working. He's asking the right questions, and it makes a lot of sense, right? This is a guy in his money year. Not that he's not making money right now, not that he wasn't making money at Colorado. He's making a lot of money this year, but the NFL's calling in 13 months. That's real money, and it seems like he's taking things very, very seriously. When I was thinking in my head, when I was thinking about Jordan Seaton playing left tackle for this LSU team, honestly, the scene that came into my brain, and it's burned into my retinas, back into my brain, was in the first quarter against Texas A&M this past fall with Carius Curran at left tackle. Nussmeier took a snap, and they got the SEC Defensive Player of the Year lined up right across from Carius Curran. And Cassius Howell comes flying off the edge. Kern never lays a finger on him. Nussmeier gets planted and fumbles. And I was thinking, that dog will not hunt. If you're trying to go 10-2, if you're trying to go 11-1, if you're trying to win big-time games and get to the college football playoff and make a push at this thing, which is LSU's general expectation. Doesn't mean they're going to reach it, but is a general expectation year in, year out. You need somebody on the left side that's never going to let that happen. And Jordan Seaton doesn't let those things happen. He's not perfect. Will Campbell wasn't perfect, but they're damn good. And Jordan Seaton, it appears, is taking that immense talent level that he had in high school that made him a top 10 player in the country, that he had when he was a freshman starter at Colorado, when he was a PFF rock star in pass protection the last 2 years, that the pro draft scouts see, and that LSU has identified. He's taken all that talent, and now is dropping 20 pounds in 3 months? That's real stuff. So we can overreact to so many things that we see in spring ball. This guy dropped this pass. This guy's arm looks good. This guy fills out the uniform. Did you see how good he was moving? Lane Kiffin said this about this guy. And you can overreact to so many things in spring football, and it is just spring football. But when a guy comes in with that kind of talent and puts in the work to immediately drop 20 pounds, you know that he's for real. He's taking this seriously. And at this point, like, what else can you want? You're not going to win any games anytime soon. You're not going to lose any games anytime soon. You're not doing anything of consequence to the fan, to the analyst, to anybody in the college football world that's outside of the actual program until August. This is 3 weeks of see what we got, see who looks good here, who looks good there. This is getting a baseline for what we need to start with on August 1st. Seton is where you start the offensive line. And it looks like it's a real good spot to start the offensive line for LSU. I had no idea that this was something that was going on, and we wouldn't because this has all been done in the shadows. But it was evident to Wilson Alexander to ask the question today, and now if you just do 2 quick clicks on the internet and see what Seton weighed at Colorado last year, what he was listed at, and what he's listed at here for LSU, that's a stark difference. And I think you've got one of the best left tackles in college football on your roster during the season. That's a pretty good place to start when you've got that much talent at wide receiver, that much talent at running back, and a quarterback who's won some pretty big games in his time in college. So it's not something I anticipated talking about today. I anticipated talking about Sam Levitt's foot. I anticipated talking about what Lane Kiffin had to say at the podium. I anticipated talking about what Blake Baker was doing on the defensive side of the ball and some of the other things vibe-wise at practice. I did not know we were going to be talking about Jordan Seton dropping 25 pounds at left tackle, but here we are. It's a big, big deal for LSU, and he's going to be a heck of a player for the Tigers in this fall. That's it for hour number 1. If you missed any of the football, Hunt on LSU is where you can find it. We'll take a timeout. Come back and preview baseball.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Ochsner wants to tell you that it is Colon Cancer Awareness Month here in March. It's important. Why is it important? Well, colon cancer is very, very common relative to other diagnoses, but it's preventable and treatable when you catch it early. And screening, especially colonoscopies, can detect precancerous polyps before they turn into cancer. So when you turn 25, it's time to start. And if you have family history, probably need to look into starting a little bit earlier. Just contact your primary care physician and ask questions. Colonoscopy, again, is the gold standard, but if you're at low risk, there may be some other options for you. If you don't have an established relationship with your primary care provider, that makes all the difference. Make that happen. They can get you involved in the right screenings at the right time. Schedule an appointment at Ochsner.org/schedule. That's Ochsner.org/schedule. And take these things very, very seriously. Again, if you're creeping into your mid-40s, might be time to look into it. Check it out at Ochsner.org.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith with Locke Meredith Sean Fagan & Associates. We take great pride in educating our clients about their rights. Whether you're injured at work or while you drive, call our office at 272-5555. Knowledge is power, and you should know your rights after an injury.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan of Locke Meredith Sean Fagan & Associates. When insurance companies have been unfair, we've never been afraid to go to trial. Fighting hard to protect your rights, we never settle a case out of convenience. We only settle when it's right for you. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call.
Parrish Construction and Roofing, trusted by champions, built for Louisiana.
Do business with someone you know. Parrish Construction and Roofing.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs, set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free, confidential help now.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. propane water heaters are very cost efficient. And the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Buccaneers linebacker Levante David retiring after 14 NFL seasons. David, a key member of Tampa's Super Bowl 55 championship team, selected to the NFL's 2010s All-Decade team, is one of just 3 players ever to record 40 or more sacks and 35 or more takeaways. Speaking to the media for the first time since signing with the Falcons, quarterback Tua Tagovailoa said he's comfortable competing for the starting job with Michael Penix Jr. And after a season where he lost the starting job in Miami, Tua's ready for what's next.
You don't choose a team based off of whether I'm going to be starting or not. I think you look at the entirety of the group, right? As I was looking at the other teams, I knew I had to compete regardless of what that was going to look like. Competition is just a thing in the NFL, and competition enhances the play of everyone that you're surrounded with.
NBPA blasted the Bucks over their dispute with Giannis Antetokounmpo, implying Milwaukee's tanking and damaging the NBA's integrity by wanting to shut down Giannis, who's healthy and ready to play. Giannis reportedly has refused the Bucks' request to sit out the remainder of this season.
When I want that big birthday energy, I grab Confetti Craze 5-Hour Energy. It's Vanilla E, buttery cake flavor without the sugar, and it's easy to take anywhere. The Funfetti flavor is back on 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon. Crack open a Confetti Craze 5-Hour Energy shot today.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, brought to you by Immense Networks Cloud IT Management. Sharif Ishak will be along in 30 minutes talking New Orleans Saints. Saints making the pro day rounds. There's a little pro day action in New Orleans today for the folks for Tulane and some of the surrounding schools that had some folks make the drive in to Uptown. So we'll talk to Sharif about New Orleans and how things are looking from that perspective. And we'll talk some LSU football as well coming up in 15 minutes. But now let's do some LSU baseball. I have not touched on LSU baseball at all today and want to get into a little bit of that. LSU and Louisiana Tech this evening from the box, a 6:30 first pitch. You can listen to it on Eagle 98.1. Last week after Jay Johnson and the Tigers beat Grambling State, the head coach called it a must-win game. And I was reading between some leaves there and saying that's a must-win game because he doesn't think he's got a team that's going to go 20-10 in SEC play. May not go 19-11 in SEC play. If you're thinking you're closer to a 15-15, 14-16 team, if you think you're closer to a 16-14, maybe a 17-13 team, you're going to need to stop dropping these games, and you certainly can't drop one to a team that's RPI is 267 right now. Now, I'm not big on looking at RPIs in March, but you know what Grambling's RPI is going to be. It's going to be bad. So you can't lose that game, right? LSU's got 4 quad 4 losses right now. Again, none of that really matters today, but you realize where we're going. It probably does. And if you've got an SEC team that wins 7 of 10 weekends and wins 19 or 20 games, you can drop some games in quad 4 and you'll be fine. But if you're 16-14, well, all of a sudden things shift a little bit. If you're thinking about hosting and you're 17-13, you need your metrics to look better than what LSU's are projecting to right now, so you can't lose to Grambling. Tech's not like Grambling. Tech is a team that's got a better RPI than that. There's 15-10 on the season. They have had some issues in the midweek. Tech lost to McNeese in a shutout fashion. They lost to Lamar in shutout fashion. Arkansas State swept a 2-game midweek series from them. Tech's lone midweek wins are Northwestern State and Central Arkansas. So I don't know that this is a great Tech team. They played Southern Miss in Ruston and got smoked pretty good in a 3-game sweep. So this is a game that LSU needs to come out there and win. I'll briefly tell you a little bit about Louisiana Tech, and it's more important than we get into the LSU stuff, which I'll do here. But Tech's got two good bats. They got Trey Halsey, who's a left-handed hitter, and Colby Lunsford, who's a right-handed hitter. Halsey hits .320. That leads the team. He's got 9 home runs. That leads the team. 3 times this year he has hit 2 home runs in a game. His OPS is over 1,000. Halsey is a good hitter. Lunsford is right-handed. He's got 8 homers. He's got a team-best 9 doubles. He leads the team in on-base percentage. Those are the 2 impact bats for Louisiana Tech tonight. That's the end of my discussion on Louisiana Tech. This is about LSU. You got to play better. And I was kicking around some lineup thoughts this morning when I wrote the preview at LouisianaSports.net. And it's very evident that Omar Cerna is going to play tonight. He might catch, he might play first, he might DH, but he's going to play. I think John Pearson's going to play too, and I think he'll probably play third base. He could DH, but I think he'll probably play third base. Stephen Milam's in the lineup. Chris Stanfield's in the lineup. Derek Curiel's in the lineup. Jake Brown's in the lineup. That's your shortstop and your 3 outfielders. So between Cerna, Pearson, Milam, Stanfield, Curiel, and Brown, that's 6 starters. I've got 3 more spots to deal with. I've got second base. I've got first base. I've got DH, basically. And here's what I would do. I realize this is not going to be popular. Here's what I would do. I would play Zach York at first base or DH tonight. Zach York has crushed lower level arms for 3 years at Grand Canyon. This season in the midweek, he's 3 for 5 with a homer against Kent State on a Monday, 2 for 4 against Creighton. He was 1 for 1 against Grambling. He homered against McNeese. I'm not completely giving up on Zach York as an SEC hitter. I think that's the popular thing to do because we always just want to make the most visceral reaction we possibly can. But I'm telling you that he can hit lower level pitching. He did it at Grand Canyon. He's done it this year. Yep, he struck out 4 times on Friday. 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. That's against L.J. Mercurius and Oklahoma, one of the best pitchers in the SEC and SEC staff. It's different than tonight against Tech. Tech's midweek arms are getting beat by Lamar and McNeese in Central Arkansas or Arkansas State. So I would start Zach York because I think there's still a chance he's going to help this team. I do. I know y'all don't. Most of you don't, but I do. So I would play him in one of the other spots. That leaves me 2. I would catch Cade Arambidi. He's 0 for 7 on this past weekend. That looks bad. But he did draw 4 walks over the weekend, and against Vanderbilt, he got 5 hits. So I'm starting Arambidi and York in 2 of those spots. That's 8. And basically, I'm leaving second base open here. Trent Carraway's the best defender. You want to put him out there? I get it. He's hitting .254. Seth Dardar is hitting 34 points below that. Tanner Reeves is hitting .216. Jack Ruckert's made 3 errors and hasn't shown himself to be a quality offensive option. Now, Braden Simpson has also made errors defensively. He made an error in left field. He has not been a very good defender at second. I get it. But you need to score some runs. And you didn't over the weekend. And Braden Simpson last year at High Point hit .389 with 22 homers. And this year, in a small sample size, he's 7 for 24. That's a .292 average. I'm not 100% certain why he's been slammed out of the lineup. I'm not suggesting Braden Simpson's going to be a first-team All-SEC player, but I don't think that Louisiana Tech's midweek pitching is a lot different than what High Point saw last year when he almost hit 400 with 22 homers. I didn't see Simpson hit a lot in the fall. He's not been a power threat for this team. Hadn't hit a homer. But, you're giving Ruckert a look. You're talking about moving William Patrick to the infield, who has been an outfielder for you since he showed up. It feels to me like Braden Simpson can get a shot. Now, if you want to only do that against left-handed pitching because he's right-handed, I understand that. I haven't completely closed the door on Dardar. But it's interesting to me that Simpson had such a good year last year, is thought of as a pretty good talent and is hitting 292 in a limited sample size this year, and he hasn't gotten a chance. I would give him a chance to play against Tech. Now, I realize that I've left Mason Braun out of this equation, and I think it would be foolish to leave him in the dark too. What's going to happen is that multiple guys are going to play second, probably multiple guys are going to handle DH, and you're probably going to have somebody moving around at third and first. Like, they're going to play a bunch of guys in those two spots tonight because that's just what Jay Johnson has done a ton of. Trying to find lightning in a bottle, and you think you found it a little bit with Cerna, you think you found it a little bit with Pearson. Like, there have been guys that have stepped into the lineup and given you something. But I would potentially give Braden Simpson a shot here. We'll see. And then you got pitching, which is a question mark entering this game. Gavin Guidry threw 70 pitches on Saturday. He's had Sunday and Monday of rest. He's not pitching tonight. I'd be really surprised if Gavin Guidry pitched tonight. He's coming off a back injury. He threw 70 pitches on Saturday. I think he's down. Now, Devin Sheeran threw 40 on Saturday, and he's probably available for an inning if you need him to close the game. But you're going to need some other guys to step up. Zach Cowan is probably going to be involved in that. Jaden Newt is probably going to be involved in that. You've used a lot of Reagan Ricken in these spots. Santiago Garcia and Ethan Plog are going to be guys that they're going to get innings to. Marcos Paz has had a couple of really encouraging outings recently. You'd like to get him out there. This is going to be another 7 or 8 pitcher day. I don't think Guidry's involved, and I think you do need to get, if you need to use Sheeran, you can. If you can win the game without him, I would strongly advise that as well. LSU hadn't really had that midweek game in a while where they went out and hit a homer in the first inning and they got up 8-0 through 4 and they just cruised to an 11-1 run rule. They haven't done that. They did a lot last year and they were a better team last year. And Tech's not one of the worst teams going to come into the box by any stretch. But you'd like one of those to happen. I kind of called for one that looked good on Thursday and they delivered that. Now they didn't on Friday and Saturday. But if they can play a solid game tonight, that would go a long way. It's a week that's low stress in terms of the amount of innings that you're playing because you got to stop playing on Saturday afternoon of this past weekend. You had Sunday off, you had Monday off, you'll play Tuesday, and then you get Wednesday and Thursday off. So only one game in those 5 days, which considering the schedule this team has played the first 6 weeks of the season, that's an infrequent dose of baseball. They should be high energy, they should be focused, and they should come out and play a good game tonight. But we've seen it a lot of times. We've seen a lot of free bases, a lot of walks, and all that's very, very possible. I just want to see them play a clean one, and they should be able to handle their business against Louisiana Tech. Again, first pitch at 6:30 from the box. Want to listen? You can catch the voice of the Tigers, Chris Blair, on Eagle 98.1, our sister station, at 6 o'clock for pregame. First pitch at 6:30 between LSU and Tech. Reminder, we'd love to see you tonight at Sports Trivia over at Court to Table. Always a good time. They put the game on for us at 8 o'clock when we start up, so you can watch some LSU baseball. You can win gift cards. You can eat some of their delicious food over at Court to Table. They got great drinks as well, so it's always a fun time. You can come by yourself, bring a whole team. We have fun at Court to Table on Tuesdays for Sports Trivia. 8 o'clock is when things start up. We'll have you out of there by about 9:15 on this Tuesday evening, so hope to see you at Court to Table. We'll chat with Sharif Ishak in 15 minutes. Come back with more. It's a Tuesday edition of The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing, LifetimeRoofingLA.com, LifetimeRoofingLA.com. Lifetime Roofing is Baton Rouge-based roofing company that services the entire state of Louisiana, plus over into Texas in the Houston area. Their core values are this: customer service, quality, and integrity. At Lifetime Roofing, they take a ton of pride in setting themselves apart from a lot of their competitors by being involved in the community, doing multiple roof giveaways for BCA awareness, military giveaways. Every single year they do that to those in need. They care about this community. And they know that oftentimes when they are called into action to help somebody with the roof, that something may have gone wrong. There may have been a bad storm, may have been a tree that has fallen on the house, maybe a significant leak, and that's just not a great time. And it's always jarring. But if you have a roofer that you trust, that's from the state of Louisiana, that you can feel is going to treat you professionally and is going to get you exactly what it is that you need, just gives you that peace of mind. So go with the local roofing company that has a lifetime workmanship warranty that includes materials backed by CertainTeed, one of the oldest and most trusted names in building materials. It's Lifetime Roofing. Also a reminder, they do gutters, they do siding, they do windows as well. So if you're looking for a roof, Lifetime Roofing. Looking for gutters, siding, windows, Lifetime Roofing. Find them online at lifetimeroofingla.com.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Transform your living space with Lacoste & Young Remodeling and take your home from outdated to outstanding. Redefine your kitchen for the ultimate culinary experience, or elevate your daily routine with a spa-worthy bathroom retreat. Our skilled team brings 3D modeling to life to ensure your vision becomes a reality. We believe luxury should be accessible and offer tailored solutions to fit your budget without compromising quality. So contact us today for a free estimate. Lacoste & Young Remodeling, providing perfect solutions for your dream home.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Tuesday show is brought to you by Immense. Immense.net is the website, immense.net. So here for your cloud IT management. There, I got experts over there at Immense and QuickBooks and Salesforce, other CRMs as well that can certainly help you with that. You're not talking about any contracts with Immense. You're not talking about break and fix work. You're talking about a relationship, a consulting company for you on the IT side. Immense has been at this for 20 years, and they can be your partner as you move to grow your business. And if you need to use technology to do that, that's what Immense is here to do. If you've got one IT person, one IT man, one IT woman, and that person's just completely overworked, let Immense help. They're here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and can provide some customized solutions for your business. A lot of times people don't know things are broken from an IT perspective. You don't know what's going on. Immense monitors your systems at all times proactively to make sure that you're taken care of. So if you are not thrilled with your current IT situation and you're a business that needs IT to run, let Immense come in and help you with that. Check them out online at immense.net, immense.net. All right, let's talk about a little LSU football here. Lane Kiffin met with the media today after LSU's first spring football practice. Tigers were basically in helmets. Some guys had shoulder pads on as well, but no tackling, nothing significant from a physicality perspective. It doesn't mean that LSU's not going to be physical, just not necessarily all the time in practice. And Lane Kiffin got a question today about how physical he wants to be in spring, in fall camp, being that the rules are a little bit different than when he broke into coaching. We all know that. So what's the level of physicality he's looking for?
Nowadays, you invest so much money in the players' positions like the NFL, and then your rosters aren't as deep. And the dynasties that you saw for a while, I don't believe are going to take place as far as the dominant dynasty teams, because you can't make a roster that deep. They won't stay. I think in that, we probably don't practice as much as we used to. I don't, because of that and understanding the depth issues and concerns. And I look at it more like, okay, hey, we appear to be early that we're going to have really good frontline guys on our roster, and we're going to have some depth issues. All programs probably feel that way nowadays. So I think you just got to be really careful with how much you do, and you can't do the old school way. As much as I'd like to from a toughness standpoint, you got to be somewhere in the middle.
LSU's got to be tougher than they were last year offensively. You got to run the football. You got to be able to hit somebody up front and move some people out of the way, and LSU just hasn't done it. Now, Lane Kiffin has done it wherever he's been. They have run the football. You may think it's finesse stuff because they're going fast and because they're running out of the shotgun, and but they will run the football one way or another. And a guy that's been a big part of that is Kevin Smith, the running back coach who he has brought in. Smith was with him at FAU and certainly with him at Ole Miss, and they've had some pretty good running backs. He spoke to the impact that Kevin Smith's going to have on this running game.
I love his story of being such a great player. I think he's the all-time rushing leader in the state of Florida from college. Then kind of had his NFL career that was okay, and then, went through some things. And so I love his kind of comeback story with that and how he now has turned everything into his kids, like investing in the players and helping them. And since we gave him really his first full-time job at FAU, and then we had Devin Singletary that led the country in rushing and touchdowns there, and then, to have Quinshawn and then the previous running back last year. So he's done a really great job with guys, and he's easy to recruit to because of that, and he's very intense out there.
That previous running back was Kejuan Lacey. He was pretty good. I had a pretty good year for Ole Miss this past year, and Kevin Smith was integral in recruiting him out of the transfer portal to Ole Miss, and then obviously the development that went on there. And so you look at what LSU has in terms of personnel, and you welcome two backs back to the fold from last year in Caden Durham and then, of course, Harlem Berry. And so the question, obviously, is do you have enough talent to recreate some of the things you did at Ole Miss with Quinshawn Judkins and Kejuan and Lacey, who were phenomenal talents with these two guys? And specifically, the question was about Harlem Berry being similar to Lacey, and this is what Lane Kiffin said.
Well, I don't know about that. Again, that's really outcome-based, and that was a tremendous season and a record-breaking season. I think he broke most of the records that Deuce had. So I don't know that. That's a long ways to go. We've had one day out there. We don't even have pads on yet. And you don't know, you're not going to get – it depends on the room. We've had times where we've had three, that kind of equal out in their playing time. We've had times where we've had one and then a drop-off to two. And so – when there's a drop-off from 1 to 2, a really big drop, now that workload increases and you're able to have giant seasons like that.
And I don't see a big drop-off from Harlem Berry to Caden Durham or vice versa. I think that both of those guys have their strengths. I think when healthy, Caden Durham's a really good player. And I'll be really honest. I don't think that I am sunshine pumping here. I don't think that I am looking through purple and gold glasses or being unreasonable. I believe that LSU's lack of a running game last year had very, very, very little to do with the talent at running back. I believe that the scheme was poor. I believe the commitment to running the running game was awful. I believe their execution in the running game was non-existent, and I just don't think that was the running back's fault. I think that was the offensive line, the talent evaluation, the development at the offensive line, and then the fact that they just never really wanted to run the ball. It didn't work. And I don't think that was Harlem Berry's fault or Caden Durham's fault. So I'm hopeful that in this scheme that they're able to enjoy a lot more success than they had last year. And part of that scheme is the tempo, is the pace. Now, this answer is not all about the running game. It's just kind of about the pace as a whole and what it means for practice and what it means for his offense. But I think it all ties into the running game as well. Lane Kiffin talked about his tempo.
There's a whole system to this, and I really got exposed to it, when we hired Kendall Browse at FAU and the Baylor system of how spread it is in the tempo and the receivers playing right and left, and there's a lot of little things within that. So that takes some time too. It's almost like, I don't know basketball well, but since basketball is going on, if you went in, you're going to press all game, and you had to get players into that conditioning, like Arkansas back in the day in basketball, 40 minutes of hell. That's basically what it's like. So that's a lot of physical condition, but mental condition, and it all starts with this quarterback because, like I said, he's the point guard pushing everything. So there's a ton that goes into that.
And that's going to be a weapon for LSU, as we know. I mean, you've been on the other side of it. If you're an LSU fan and have watched LSU play Ole Miss the last few years, you know that when they get going quick, it can be a little bit intimidating. And certainly that's what Lane Kiffin is here to recreate. And then you start instilling that in the spring. And he mentioned the quarterback. He's talking about Sam Leavitt. And if you are just arriving to the show or catching this on YouTube in a short and haven't heard the previous segment I did at the top of the show, Sam Leavitt's out there. And he is participating. He's not participating fully, and I don't expect that he will participate fully in spring football, but he's not sitting off to the side. He is working on his handoffs. He is throwing the football to route trees. He is moving drill to drill. He's in a helmet. He's in his jersey. He just can't run. And so when they move drill to drill, he jogs a little bit gingerly. He's walking a little bit gingerly, but he's healthy enough to be out there and kind of get a sense of what they're trying to do. I'm curious if his workload increases over the course of the next 3 weeks or if this is just kind of what he is right now until things improve. But he is able to get out there and get a feel for what they're trying to do. And Lane Kiffin was very open after the transfer portal class had been signed when he met with the media following that about we want to have the quarterback in charge of this offense and making sure that it's running efficiently and doing the things that we need it to do. And he's the one who has to do it, as he used the term there, the point guard. And so you want as much practice time as you can get for Sam Leavitt, but you don't want to push it. And so there's a medium there that they're working on. We saw it out there today, and part of that is going to be absolutely in the running game. And I have a decent feeling about the running game on this team. I need to see the offensive line a little bit, and I don't know if we'll get to see enough in fall camp to draw some conclusions. I really, after last fall camp, got a sense for what I was watching with Brian Kelly's program. You're programmed to think very positively in August. It is what it is, and I don't think that's a bad thing. But when you see some significantly negative things that continue to show up, instead of always leaning on that one aspect that's making it look bad being really good, sometimes that aspect is bad. And we saw that with the defense 3 years ago. And we saw that with the offensive line this past year. They looked bad in camp the majority of the time, and then you got to the season and it looked bad. And so I want to see this offensive line move some people out of the way in the fall. Maybe we'll get to see it some in the spring. But that running game has got to be it's got to be paramount in what they're trying to do offensively. And I think Kiffin's proven he can do it. Kevin Smith has proven he can do it. And the two guys they've got to carry the lion's share of the workload, I think, are capable of being a top 6 running team in the SEC. Doesn't mean that I'm saying they will be that. It means that I think they have the talent to do that. Up front, in the backfield, with the coach and the play caller, all of that, if you mix all those ingredients together to make that gumbo, I think it's one that can run the football a little bit. So that's what I'm hopeful for, at least. That's Lane Kiffin talking about the running game. He met with the media for about 20 minutes earlier today, and you'll certainly hear more about that from Matt's show later on. We're going to transition back to the New Orleans Saints. I talked about Mansoor Delane and where he fit with the New Orleans Saints in the first hour. If you missed that, you can catch it at Hunt on Saints. But I'll have some conversations with Sharif Ishak about the pro days that are going on and what the Saints are looking for currently. We'll do that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Man, hurricane season's always around the corner, isn't it? We've had some quiet ones, and I like that. But we all know that they're not here forever. There will be activity at some point. Give yourself the peace of mind to know that if you decide to ride out a hurricane, you've got that Boudreaux's Electrical Generac home standby generator to keep your power on. If you evacuate for a hurricane and you do lose power in your neighborhood, you don't want to come back to a 96-degree house. We have all done that. It's not fun. Make sure that generator's up and running. Your AC's working. Your television's working. Your refrigerator and freezer are working. Good as new. That's what Boudreaux's Electrical can do for you. You can buy that home standby generator from the big box stores. You can. You're not going to get the customer service that you get from Boudreaux's Electrical. Installation by a full-time Boudreaux's employee. Monitoring it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Maintenance, repair, whatever you need from Boudreaux's Electrical with your generator, they can do that for you. If you get it from the big box stores, you're going to get that customer service. Neil and Melissa have been at this for 40 years. They own and operate the company. It's not private equity that's bought in. It's a local business that knows what this part of the world goes through in hurricane season. Give them a call at 985-397-1562. That's 985-397-1562. Or the Gonzales location, 225-300-9389. That's 225-300-9389. It is Boudreaux's Electrical.
The Cane's Box Combo, a symphony of flavors. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
Who bears the standard? Who sets the bar? It's not those satisfied by low-hanging fruit or by taking it easy. No, the standard is set by the best of us, by those who work hard. Dig deeper. Give more. At Sunshine, we're proud to provide John Deere products that work hard for you, the standard bearers. Find the dealer nearest you at sunequip.com.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for game day and let our
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Chugging along here, Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Hope your work week is off to a good start. We're brought to you by Immense Networks Cloud IT Management. Let's go down to the Big Easy. Sharif Ishak, WDSU in New Orleans, giving us a little time on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Sharif, how are you?
You know, just hanging out inside the Saints practice indoor facility. I have to hang out at LSU's practice indoor facility all these pro days. So I'm fine, I guess.
What was the pro day situation today? Tulane and maybe some guys from the FCS around. Like who was working out?
Yeah, Tulane, and then we had Southern, Grambling, McNeese, Southeastern, Nichols. So pretty much the rest of the schools in the state of Louisiana did not hold a pro day at their own school.
Gotcha. All right, cool. I want to talk about some thoughts on that Mansoor Delane. Well, let's just go there now. I want to get to Chris Olave's potential contract negotiations. We'll get to that in a second. But Mansoor Delane ran a great time. How do you feel about the Saints looking that way in the first round at number 8 and addressing a need after you've lost a couple of big-name cornerbacks over the last 3 years?
I know I brought it up with you either last week or the week before. One of the 3 names that I think they should heavily look at if he's still on the board was Mansoor Delane was one of them, Caleb Downs and Carnell Tate. And I would not put it past the Saints to draft Mansoor Delane. I mean, forget about what he did yesterday. Yes, that helped a little bit, but he's a very good football player. They need a lockdown cornerback, and he was a lockdown corner last year for LSU, and I think that he can provide that alongside of Kool-Aid McKinstry and Quincy Riley, who they can kick inside. So, I mean, yeah, he's fast, man, but his coverage skills are unreal, and they could definitely use that in this in the NFC South. So I would not put it past him. If he were on the board, and let's just say some of your other guys, your other high guys that you like are trying to draft and not on the board, and he's there. I mean, even if they're there, it's a possibility that they could take it, and you should definitely look at Mansoor. He's everything that Brandon Staley would love to have on his defense.
He could be a game changer. I just did not know he had the sub 4.4 in the tank, and he certainly showed that yesterday at LSU's Pro Day. All right, let's talk about the signing of Jackson Smith-Njigba, which was obviously a big deal. He's the Offensive Player of the Year. He signs a monster contract, biggest in the history of the sport. How does that change the discussions between the Saints and Chris Olave?
I don't think it really changed it much. I mean, Jackson Smith is good, man. He's a star. I mean, he's amazing. I mean, they led him to a Super Bowl title, not just him, but he deserves every penny of it. And Chris Olave is going to get paid, but he's just not going to get paid Jackson Smith-Njigba money. I know that, kind of like you look at each player, they went to the same college, almost the same build, almost the same type of player. Luckily for Chris, he turned it on at the right time during contract year. I mean, they still got some wiggle room. They still have that 1 year, but you probably don't want to wait much longer in terms of trying to pay him, and I'm sure he doesn't want to wait much longer to get paid. I'm still thinking $25 to $30 million a year is the range. I mean, that's just what the going rate is for your number one receiver, which he acted like this year.
That's the thing about the Saints waiting, is that the longer you wait, you let Jackson Smith-Njigba sign, you're going to see Puka Nacua sign, that's going to be absolutely monster, and these deals are going to keep getting bigger, and the Olave camp is just going to keep waiting and looking as those numbers go up and up. I was thinking closer to 25, like 3, 4, 5 months ago. Now you have to potentially be looking north of 30. Is there a threshold where you would have to stop?
I would say probably like 28 to 30 million. But you have to think the names you just said, those guys who've been playing and then been playing at a high level. I know Jackson Smith-Njigba hasn't been in the league long, but it's still he's been playing at a very good level. And, it's unfortunate Chris has dealt with some very serious concussion issues.
Yeah.
But those other guys played, and they got paid for playing, almost every single game. And like I said, it's not his fault because he got stung pretty bad on quite a few plays, and he missed a lot of games. But you're still probably going to have to pay him because of how he finished the season and how important he is to Tyler Shuck, and he's going to be to this offense. And I think that, he understands it. He knows the business side of it, and I think the Saints have to understand the business side of how much they have to pay him. But I would say 28 to 30 million is where I'm going to sit. Anything north of that, you're really going to be talking about Puka money and then Jackson money. So I'm not comfortable going above that.
We'll see. I think it's fascinating. It went from in September, October, I was like, no way I'm paying any attention to Chris Olave wanting some monster extension. He just hasn't proven that in any way, and the Saints are so far away. And then Tyler Shuck plays well late, and Chris Olave plays well with him with really no help because they traded away Shaheed, and then your number two essentially gets hurt. So I think that there's been a drastic change in circumstance over the last 4 months, no?
Yeah, I mean, I understand that for sure, and that's where he elevated his game, and
right.
That's probably where he earned him an extra $5 million, which puts me at the $30 million mark from 25 to 30 million. So, but they have to be smart about it because they're going to have to start paying a few other players here in the next year or two, and that they have to take care of. That's players who are important in terms of rebuilding this franchise. But look, Kai and Mickey, they know what they're doing, and I think that I'm sure they're weighing the options of his health too. Man, if we give this guy $30 million a year, he gets hurt one more time. It's like, oh man, we're going to be on the hook for a lot of money.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it plays out. But I think he gets his money.
Anything new with two guys really with Cam Jordan obviously, and then with Alvin Kamara?
Nothing new, man. Being here at the facility, just asking about it, it's nothing new. It's sit and wait. I truly think that Cam comes back here because he's going to be out there.
Do you think the market's dried up for him? Do you think that what he wants is just not out there?
Yeah, I just don't think he's going to get the money that he wants. I think that he wants money and lots of playing time, and they look at a guy's going to be 37 in July, and they're like, well, we can offer you $4 or $5 million, $6 million, and you're going to get 20 snaps. I think he's thinking every down, and at 37, if somebody offered me $6 million and said 20 snaps, 15, 20 snaps, I'm going to be good with it. And I feel like that's where maybe the Saints are, 15 to 20 snaps a game and $6 million. So I think just my gut tells me that that's where he ends up signing, is finishing his career in a black and gold uniform.
I'm curious what you think Cam's desire is. I think that obviously he would like to play with the Saints, but do you think there's any part of him that, with the money's right, would be rejuvenated by going somewhere else? Or do you think he truly just wants to create a market, leverage the Saints out of a few more extra dollars and get that? What do you think he really wants if you had to guess? You can't know, but if you had to guess.
I don't think it's money to him, Hunt, because he's made enough money. He's made a lot of money, and I think.
Well, he said if the cents don't make sense, he's talking in dollar terms when he's on podcasts.
Yeah, of course. And he has to say that. He doesn't want to get underpaid. He doesn't want to end up on a 1 year, $4 million deal. I think he would like to I think to me it's years. I think he'd like to have 2 years, not just 1 year, $6 million. I think he'd like to have the 2 and $13, $14 million year, maybe $15 million contract. I don't think he wants to sign 1 year. I think he'd like to see them go 2 years and $15 million, so he can, because you heard him say he can play 2 to 3 more years, and that's what he feels like the Saints in 2 years are really going to be at that high level of competing. So I think we're looking at years and little extra dollars, but I think it's the years to me, because I think he wants to be guaranteed.
We'll see. It's a fascinating situation with the Saints and Cam Jordan, and I don't know that we're close to resolving it. Just curious if there was anything happen with your ears to the ground in New Orleans. Anything on pro days that has stood out to you, or are you still kind of circling the same 3 or 4 guys in the draft?
I'm going to keep circling the same 3 or 4, but that's me adding Mansoor to that mix now. Yeah. I feel I liked him last week and even the week before that. It's hard to pass on a lockdown corner, man. You could never have enough lockdown corners. So I'm still thinking Mansoor, Carnell, or Caleb Downs, to have one of the 2 Ohio State guys. But you got to provide Tyler a weapon to me. And if Carnell Tate is there and you're picking between Carnell and Mansoor, I know it's a tough debate. You can find a receiver later to the draft, and that's a tough pickle, man. Carnell Tate's good and Mansoor is good, and it's hard to find a really good lockdown corner. So to me, I don't think I could pass on Mansoor Delane.
Maybe they'll just take a right guard.
I would drive people crazy. The guy from Penn State would probably be the guy, and I don't know how to say his name.
That's just a joke. That's not going to happen. They're not taking a guard at 8. But it's funny to think about considering the track record. Sharif, we appreciate the time. We'll talk next week.
You got it, bud. See you next week.
Sharif Ishak, WDSU down in New Orleans, covering the black and gold. I'll tell you this. A guy, Ross Jackson, cranked out a mock draft right after the Super Bowl. It's 2 days after, maybe the next day. And then he does another one, and then there's the combine, and then you got some pro days. And so this is lingering, and LSU did his pro day yesterday, and so I started thinking about doing a Mansoor Delane Saints segment, which I did today. And I thought to myself, I'm not 100% sure what day the draft is. Let me look that up. So I looked it up today on the way into LSU's practice. It's still a month away. It's the 23rd of April. It's almost in May.
Yeah.
And it's March.
I say in the NFL's defense, because usually it falls on my birthday or around my birthday, the end of April 29th, 28th. So the fact it's a little bit earlier this year, but still late at the same time, is just, it bothers me so much.
The longest ramp up, at least when the season starts, we do a long ramp up in August for the season, right? Yep. It's a long ramp up. It takes a long time to get to that first LSU game, that first Saints game.
It does.
But then you just play, and you play, and you're in the
you
season.
Don't stop.
This is basically 3 hours on Thursday, maybe an hour and a half on Friday in the evening. And are you really locked into the 6th round? I mean, if for the Saints you are, for the Bills you're not. And so it's a huge runway for this fever dream that takes 4 hours.
No, most definitely.
Oh my goodness, can the NFL create some hype? They're brilliant at it. To their credit. You got to have something in every month.
You're right. Like they have found the actual formula to running the news cycle yearly.
I mean, you got playoffs in January, Super Bowl in February, free agency right there, and then you got the combine in March. You got pro days, you got the draft in April, mini camps in May. Then June is a little bit slow.
And in July they come back.
And then July they practice.
Yeah.
So like you really have June is not super busy.
And that's it.
That's about it.
And I think that's the NBA playoffs. So like the NBA playoffs are going on in June. Oh, in Omaha and all that.
No, everybody's really locked into the College World Series in June.
I'm about to say, so it's like it's you're not missing it. You're literally not missing it.
I'm not, but I hope I'm locked into the College World Series this year. It feels like
fingers crossed.
I'm not giving up. A lot of people are giving up. I'm not giving up. I got a text the other day from a buddy that was like, I guess you're not going. And I got a call from a friend today who invited me to do something in June. He's like, I mean, you're not going to Omaha. And I was like, well, maybe. I might be going to Omaha. I'm not. They're not dead yet, okay?
They're not.
I'm not giving them their last rites. We played 2 SEC weekends. We have 8 more to go. So let's see how they can do. That's how I choose to look at it. I have made the call way too early in 23 and 24, pronouncing them in trouble. In 23, their bullpen and starters after Skeens were atrocious. In 24, they looked like a dead team walking. And they figured some things out both years to varying degrees. I'm not giving up just yet. Maybe that makes me an idiot. That's okay, though. I'm willing to be an idiot in this way. Let's close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC. FabryChevrolet.com. I should probably say the website right. That would make sense. FabryChevrolet.com. The entire inventory is there online. You can get Silverados for up to $11,000 off MSRP, 1.9 APR financing. You can get a GMC Sierra for up to $13,000 off MSRP, 0.0 APR financing on those. It's a great time to get into an SUV as well. Those family road trips are coming up. School's going to be out before you know it. So if you're looking for a new ride to get the whole family to the beach or wherever you may be headed, how about a Tahoe? How about a Suburban? They got them. How about a Yukon? How about a Denali? They got them over at Fabry Chevrolet GMC, and great deals to boot. Fabry family's been at it for 35 years. They've got 3 locations, 5 brands. You know them well. Their reputation is sterling for a reason. It's because they treat their customers so well. So go by and see them. Highway 61 in St. Francisville. Check out the inventory online at FabryChevrolet.com.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
Everything you need for a stunning garden is at the Plant Barn in Baton Rouge. From trees and shrubs to plants and pottery, the Plant Barn has it all at great prices. Visit us today on Valley Street, right off Perkins Road in South Downs.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit LouisianaPropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport.
That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our...
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Failure happens to us all.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. SwingEasyGCBR.com. SwingEasyGCBR.com is the website. Don't go to the website. Go to the store. Go to Swing Easy Golf Club right there on Segan at Perkins and play some golf. If you've never played simulator golf before, it's a different experience. I think it's a ton of fun. You can play some of the most famous golf courses in the world. St. Andrews, Carnoustie, Troon. On the British Open Rota, you can play Pebble Beach or Cypress Point, Bethpage Black. You can play TPC Louisiana, where they play the Zurich. It's right there on the simulator. Bring your friends, play by yourself, drink some cold pops, work on your game on the driving range. Invite a client. Spend an evening there. The weather's not great and you were planning on playing golf, go to Swing Easy Golf Club on Segan at Perkins. I've always enjoyed my time at Swing Easy Golf Club. I got a tournament coming up on Memorial Day weekend. I'm going to get into the lab at Swing Easy Golf Club and hit some shots here in the coming weeks. Looking forward to that. You can do it as quickly as this afternoon on Segan at Perkins at Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. Big midweek in SEC baseball. Florida State tonight. South Carolina's playing North Carolina. Mississippi State and Southern Miss in a big matchup tonight. And, of course, LSU and Louisiana Tech. Looking for a preview of LSU and Tech. You can find it at louisianasports.net. I also talked about it at the top of hour number 2 of my show today. So go back and listen to that if you are interested. They'll play at 6:30 tonight from the box. If you want to listen to that, you can on Eagle 98.1 starting at 6 o'clock. For right now, let's play some Take It or Leave It.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, so this next story, you just got to stick with me real quick. So a county sheriff's office in Maryland said Monday that a professional cornhole player who's also a quadruple amputee fatally shot a passenger in the front seat of a car as they were driving during an argument. Dayton James Weber, 27, was arrested and charged as a fugitive by the police department. Hear this out. So this is how it transpired, Hunt. So Weber pulled over after the shooting, asked the 2 passengers in the backseat to help him pull out the victim. Obviously, he has no arms or legs.
Correct.
They refused. They flagged down some police officers, whatever. He tried to flee the vehicle. Obviously, he didn't get far. They got him. So having no arms and legs and shooting people, take it or leave it?
I'm going to leave that.
Leave it alone.
And then asking everybody to help you get away.
Help him get him out the car.
I mean, I don't know the mechanics of how you shoot somebody with no arms or legs.
I don't know at all either.
I don't know how that works. That's not great and really interesting.
Very. And again, he's a professional cornhole player.
Yeah. Also, not sure how you do that. You got to get that beanbag in the teeth and whip it across.
Doing something like that.
Maybe rest it on the arm. I don't know.
Ranked cornhole player. This is all over ESPN. He was a ranked cornhole player. Actually, was featured on ESPN at one point because of quadruple amputee, and he just went crazy yesterday.
Do you think I could beat this guy in cornhole?
I don't know, man. If he's that good with no arms, he's probably like legit. Like he's probably super good at cornhole.
Sounds like we're talking about a story from The Onion, is what it sounds like. But somehow it's not.
No, this is real life. So, in lighter news, Arkansas freshman Darius Acuff Jr.
Non-cornhole murder news
with no arms and legs Darius Acuff has landed a signature shoe of Reebok, becoming the first NCAA athlete to receive a major U.S. shoe deal in college. So he's going to get his own signature shoe while he's in college. And he's also the first signature shoe athlete from Reebok since John Wall. So big deal or no big deal to still get your first signature shoe in college. Oh, big deal or no big deal. take it or leave it.
I'll take it. That's a big deal.
I'll take it.
That's a big deal. A-Cup deserves it, man. Everyone's on the A-Cup bandwagon at this point. We've been on it for a while. I mean, when I watched the first time I really watched him was in December, and then LSU got ready to play Arkansas early on in conference play, and I went back and looked at a lot of Arkansas when I was still really breaking those games down before LSU had lost 100 games in a row. Yeah. And I was like, oh, God, this is better than I thought. And then he went nuts against LSU in Fayetteville. LSU was competitive in that game, but he was just too much. Couldn't handle him, and he's awesome, and he's going to – I mean, there is starting to be some number one overall pick buzz for him. I don't think he will be the number one overall pick, but there's starting to be some buzz, and I understand why. He is that good.
Much deserved buzz. To me, I just think it all depends on who will get the number one pick. Like, the teams this year is kind of –
Maybe it'll be the Pels.
Oh, man. I mean –
Nope, don't have one.
Yeah, I'm about to say, like, that would
They're
be
playing
great.
good, though.
No, we are playing good. Look, I just would have – we need that. We need Jesus. We need Jesus, honestly.
He's coming back. Easter. He's coming back at Easter, so we're good. That's like 2 weeks. He'll be back.
Season's over. It's too late. The season's over. You can't help us at this point. Like, and now you would have came in October. Maybe we'd be talking right now.
Yeah, he's more of a born in December,
Yeah,
raised in March type deal.
We missed
raised
the window.
In April. Yeah.
We missed the window. We're gonna get left behind. So to finish things up, Levante David has retired from the NFL after 14 seasons with the Bucs. 3-time All-Pro, Super Bowl champion. This goes to show that he was only a 3-time All-Pro, and he had over 100-some tackles every season. So one of the most underrated players of all time. Take it or leave it.
I would take it. That's a
I'll take it.
That's maybe a little hyperbole there, but I think he's a Hall of Famer. I mean, 3-time All-Pro, as
For
good as that
14 years.
was. Yeah, Super Bowl champion. I mean,
one jersey guy.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's good. Obviously, got a text there from old Michael Cobble that made me chuckle a little bit. So, yeah, that's a great career, heck of a player, and it's a new day over there in Tampa with some of the guys that are out the door. Same deal with the Saints, as you mentioned. And the Falcons are kind of turning over some new leaves as well. So,
please.
There you go. That's it for Take It or Leave It. I hope to see y'all tonight at Court at the Table for sports trivia at 8 o'clock. Well, tomorrow I got a busy show. We'll talk to Koki Riley about baseball. We'll do What If Wednesday, SEC Baseball Power Rankings, and some more sound from Lane Kiffin. Matt will drive you home from AFR next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Gotro's Outdoor Power. Huge week at Gotro's Outdoor Power. You've heard of March Madness. How about Mower Madness? It is going on right now at Gotro's Outdoor Power. 2 locations, of course, Airline Highway in Baton Rouge, Gonzales as well. Listen to these deals. 15% off of Echo products, $250 off Hustler Raptors, and listen to this one. Up to 32% off MSRP on all Hustler commercial zero-turn mowers. So if you need a new mower for this growing season, it's spring, summer's coming, we got to cut grass around here until almost Christmas. If you need a new Hustler zero-turn, up to 32% off at Mower Madness over at Gotro's Outdoor Power. It's going on all week. They're going to have an open house with food and giveaways on Friday, but if that's not good for you, get on by any day this week and check out the incredible savings. 2 locations, of course, the one on Airline Highway. Lots of inventory also in Gonzales. That's Gotro's Outdoor Power.
At Raising Cane's, we hand batter every chicken finger, mix every cane sauce, butter every Texas toast, stir every slaw, and salt every fry. Because when you do it right,